Welcome back to another episode of Your Content Factory. My name is Blake, and I will be your guide, your spirit guide, through this episode. I have an awesome guest with me today. If you'll turn your attention to Shari, and I said that correctly.
You did.
Shari.
Congratulations. No one ever says it right.
I know. I remember you saying that when we met you, and I thought it was Shari, but I was like, Shar. It's such like a hard AR.
I know.
R. Like a pirate almost.
I told you I'm rebranding, so maybe I'll add a little pirate in there.
Oh yeah. Put an eye patch over a stick figure or something in there. They probably have a pirate emoji you could just put next to your name.
Perfect.
Shar, matey.
Yes.
Right? Lame joke. Wow, that was a great joke. But Shari Tamietti, right? Did I say your last name as well? Cool.
The whole thing's a mouthful, let me tell you.
It's great, but it's memorable. You know, like pick an actress or somebody that has like an interesting name, like Charisse Theron, right?
Yes.
I think I probably butchered that too. I don't know, but anyway, that's awesome. And she's visited by our lovely studio dog Blitz.
Hello, Blitz.
The white German
so
Shepherd.
pretty.
He is a handsome guy.
He is.
There he is. Can you see him good? Yeah. He looks good. Well, for those listening, I brought Shari on today to discuss content. Obviously, this is Your Content Factory. We talk about systems and processes when it's regarding content creation. So here at Blueform Media, we aim to be the foundation for your content creation. I believe that a podcast is the best way to make the most amount of like video content in one sitting and just have that be your machine. But we branch out and we like to talk to people because Shar has been doing this for a long time, right? And I want to go over how we met, but you're currently, you have like a studio here in St. George, right? It's over kind of by Sunset Drive, if you're familiar with that. And it's a beautiful studio. And so maybe we can start there and then flashback, because every good movie has a flashback, right?
Okay.
We got to start back. So you're currently, what are you doing currently right now?
So currently I have the Kiva Content Studios, which I started. I had some extra space, and it's something that I've kind of always wanted to do, is have a studio that small business owners can come. It's not a photography studio. That's not what I was going for. It's kind of what it turned into, but not what I was going for originally. I wanted a place where small business owners could come and get good content, take good pictures of their product, like all the people you see at the farmers markets and stuff like that, just a way to support them in marketing their business. So that's what's happening in the back. And then in the front, I do permanent jewelry, and I also have a permanent jewelry training course where I teach other people how to do permanent jewelry. Right.
And this is, I don't know anything about jewelry, but permanent jewelry is jewelry that you basically attach to you permanently. Like it will not come off unless you break it.
Correct. So you have to cut it off. So it's not that permanent. But you choose your chain, we weld it on, and then it's on you for good. Yeah. That's
awesome. And like, I'm assuming it's pretty good metals and stuff, because it's not like irritating your skin or like turning you green.
Right. So they're either 14K solid gold, gold filled, or sterling silver.
Nice. Yeah. So it's no joke.
No. Yeah.
And it's really hard to get stolen off of you.
Yes.
Like if I was like, those sleight of hand guys.
Yeah.
They're like,
you'd have to take my whole arm.
Yeah. They're like, they're like poking you in the forehead, stealing your watch.
Taking your Rolex.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, that would be funny to like see how they're like, wait,
we should bait them.
Yeah, bait and switch them, So that's awesome. But you were telling us a little bit about your success with the courses, online courses you've been selling about teaching people how to do this. So we'll get to that in a minute. But we went to Shar's studio because I think you're parting ways with it, correct?
I am parting ways with it.
Yes. And so if you guys hear this and you're looking for a studio in St. George, you could beat us to the punch, but I think we're really interested in taking over this space and moving probably even this room we're in now.
It's going to be so cool.
It would be cool.
I need it to go to a good home.
I know, yeah. You also have an infinity wall for photography, the biggest one in St. George.
The most pain in my ass infinity wall. But it's good now. So I took all the pain and now
you're going to give it to
now
whoever.
There's the gain.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, no pain, no gain. And it's really interesting. If you know about infinity walls, like we can talk about that real quick, right? What's the advantages of having an infinity wall?
So they just open up the opportunity for lots of different types of content. You know, you don't have it almost makes things like you're floating. I don't know. There's just a lot of stuff you can do with it. And editing wise, if you've seen like dance portraits or things like that, where it's just all the same color in the background. That's really easy to do with an infinity wall. Same with like product photos.
Right.
Like, you know, Amazon requires a white background photo. That's really easy to do on an infinity wall. So just a lot of possibilities, especially for podcasting. We talked about the lights on the back, which is really cool.
Yeah, it's a cool. Really great, it's kind of an optical illusion to the camera, right? So it creates a ton of depth. And if you get your lighting right on there, you can create almost that Willy Wonka, that white room in Willy Wonka where it just is endless, right? Or in the Matrix when Neo, he pops into the Matrix and he's just in this white room.
So cool.
Sitting with Morpheus on a leather chair kind of thing. That's kind of what an infinity wall is. So we'll probably reference some of those pictures. If this becomes a clip for social media, we'll show what an infinity wall is. But yeah, so you have that and it's gorgeous and you've done an excellent job in creating it. And it was a pain and you got swindled. So like, do you want to mention names on this show? Should we?
I think I have blocked his name from my mind because I'm trying to think of it now. I would gladly mention his name. I don't remember it.
DM us if you want the name. But there is
I'll look him up.
There's a kind of like home improvement guy, or what does he do? Like a handyman?
I guess.
Yeah, and
that's what he claims to do.
Anyway, if you want to pay somebody for a job and not get the job done, and you want him to steal your money, we'll give you the name.
He's great at that.
Yeah,
he's really great at that.
If you're looking to just blow some money,
I don't think I told you this, but he like was just dragging his feet, and I finally messaged him and was like, "Okay, what's going on, bro?" And he's like, "Oh, I was in a car accident and I broke both my legs, so I'm not going to be able to finish it." And I said,
I would have liked to known that earlier, sir.
You broke both your legs or you want both your legs broken? Because I'm not the one.
Yeah. You're like, my last name is Tammy Ed.
Yeah. I've got connections.
That's
okay?
Like, yeah. Yeah, well, listen to me closely here.
You come to me on the day of my daughter's wedding.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. Yeah, that's that. I mean, yeah, you always check. I knew some Bellettis.
Oh.
Yeah, and they're vicious, you know. Great guys.
Well,
hilarious.
we're not that Italian. My husband can barely make spaghetti, so
shame.
Yeah.
Just kidding. But yeah, that's a shame though. Be aware, vet your people if you're using them to help you create
it's my
stuff.
Own fault, but I'm just like a small town girl, you know. If you say you can do it, then I'm just assuming you can do it.
Well, we've done the same thing. We've had good nature towards people with website help and stuff and other things, and you know, they just don't follow through. Yeah. So that's like a tenet of business. If you can follow through, you're golden. You're gold.
You're better than half the people out there.
Yeah. The bar is low these days. But okay, so with bringing Shari on though, kind of my intention for the audience is I want to help understand the lessons that Shari has learned. Shari. Excuse me. Shari. I'm thinking about alcohol. Yeah, Shari's learned some lessons over the last 10 plus years of content creation.
Yeah. I will say the first, I probably wasn't doing it very well, but I was doing it.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing is like, even like nobody knows what they're doing.
Yeah.
Like that's the reality.
That's the secret of life.
Yeah.
Literally no one knows.
Nobody knows anything. Yeah. And like anybody who claims to know everything about social media or know how the algorithm works.
Yeah.
You might get the hang of it and then it's going to change.
And then it changes.
It changes. Yeah. So that's another thing you can get scammed by is don't listen to someone telling you, hey, this is how it is in social media, because it's always going to change. You got some likelihoods going on and stuff, but let's back it up. Let's go back. You said you started doing this in 2012. You were telling me off the mic earlier.
Yeah. When did Instagram come out? Do you know?
I want to say like 2010. Maybe we can have Emily and Mal.
I think it was probably about 2010.
We can do some Jamie work and look it up.
Yeah. Do some.
It probably was about 2010. I got Instagram so fast.
Did you?
The second it came out, just for personal use. I've just always loved Instagram. I just love the little squares, and now they're not even squares anymore. I just loved it. So I was always making personal content that I thought was really fun. Not well enough to be like an OG blogger or anything, but
yeah.
And then started a clothing boutique in 2012. kind of on a whim, my dad had put a deposit down on a building in Hurricane, which is where we're from.
Nice.
He was going to use it as a tax office. And I said, actually, I think I'm going to take that.
Yeah.
So I took it over, did a little clothing store, and it was really fun. I had a great time.
So did you sell?
2010.
2010 was Instagram. Mm-hmm. Okay, so you got Instagram. It was largely for the ladies.
Yes.
And it was largely like an aesthetic.
Yeah.
I remember like Pinterest was kind of a thing too.
Uh-huh.
And Instagram. Yeah, and it just kind of looked girly to me.
Yeah.
Which was kind of like, I think guys were slower to get on the Instagram, let's be honest. But yeah, it was extremely aesthetic, right? Just pictures. So was that kind of the first kind of content you were doing was photography?
Yeah, for sure. And I've always loved like composition and lighting and stuff like that when it comes to pictures. So even some of my Facebook pictures from 2008 or whenever that came out, I loved like true millennial here, but like creating an album and having a fun title and all that stuff.
Did you have a MySpace?
I don't think I ever had a MySpace.
I mean, I had one briefly, but my parents were so strict about computer usage and stuff. And like, how old are you, if you don't mind me asking?
I'm 32.
32. Okay, so yeah, you're.
Can you fact check that too?
Yeah,
Just kidding.
Let's do the
No,
math
I'm pretty
real
sure I'm 32.
Yeah, I'm 36 and Mal's 31. And I think Emily's my age as well on the controls there. But so we were around, when Facebook was huge.
Yes.
And then Facebook kind of killed MySpace.
Yeah. I think I got a Facebook in like 2009.
Yeah.
I don't
sounds
know,
right.
somewhere around there. Yeah.
Same. Mine was like 2010.
Yeah.
But I didn't get a smartphone until 2014. Like I was late to the party.
I had a BlackBerry.
Oh,
like a corporate executive.
Do you remember the Palm Pilots?
Yeah.
Yeah.
My dad had one of those.
Oh yeah. Anybody who was anybody was like.
Yeah, the little stylus.
Let me pull up some stuff.
Yes.
Yeah, and then like pagers. Man, it's crazy how fast it's changed.
It's
over
crazy.
the years, but it does seem a long time ago though. Like 2012, that's over a decade.
Yeah.
And so that's when you started doing this, and it was largely photography for the aesthetics.
Mm-hmm. I
Cool.
Loved a good picture.
Yeah. What kind of camera were you using back then?
My parents had an old, like a digital camera, but it was a big one, like with the nice lens, and the SD card was about this big.
Yeah.
It was like those old ones. I don't even know what they're called. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, they're
though?
bigger than SD cards.
Yeah.
They were like
they're
a floppy
huge.
disk.
Yeah, you would put that in the side. And it was a huge pain to get it off because you'd have to have all these cords to plug into the computer. But when I got like a little digital camera that had an SD card and I had my own laptop, that was just felt so high tech because you just plug it in the side and immediately have all your pictures.
Wow. The convenience, the process. And this is what we like to break down on the show is the systems. Because everybody, whether you know it or not, you're doing a system. It could be a horrible system.
Yeah.
You're like, oh, crap. And I think people die kind of like the book. We normally have it up above you, but it's called Atomic Habits. You've read it. But the one thing you need to learn from that book, if you haven't read it, read it. If you don't ever want to read it and you're sick of people talking about self-help books, just know one thing. In the book Atomic Habits, it says, nobody rises to an occasion. We always fall to the level of our systems that we have in place. And so that's what kills content the most, I think.
Yeah.
If you don't have a system to do it again and again and again, then it just dies.
And it has to become a habit.
Yeah.
It has to be a habit where you can look at your meal and think, how do I turn this into content? Or not even your meal, but whatever you're doing. Right. And how can you sell this to sell yourself, to sell what you sell?
Exactly. It's so crazy. And like these skill sets and these habits and these systems that people build are built around pieces of technology, right? Like we all have our phones and like moments. You got to be able to capture a moment, or you're creating the moment in a controlled space, like a studio, like this, right? This is a controlled area. And then you're distributing that moment to the masses or whatever it is, whether it's a podcast or a picture, or you're an OnlyFans model, or you're selling feet pics on Feet Finder, right? Like you're still developing a skill and a system to put your feet in weird angles and take the best picture of them, right? Like You can't just like snap a picture normally.
Yeah.
Like there's an art form to it. As much as we hate to admit it, like there's an art form to
There
that.
is.
Yeah.
And like we just talked about knowing your audience.
Right.
Who's your audience and what angles? Okay, we won't get into that, but I don't know much about the foot finder audiences, but I'm sure they get really specific.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure there's an audience out there for hairy hobbit feet like
I'm
mine.
sure.
Yeah, so if I get the angles right, man,
Yeah, let's start it.
I'll have all the hobbits in the Shire, signing up for my services. So it's the same thing though, like the photography that goes into like food. And like the same thing with the chef, minus the camera, that a good chef is presenting that dish in a really unique way. So it's an experience for the diner. And it's the same thing. The diner, if, imagine 100 diners at a restaurant and they're all just getting a nice meal. But then there's like 2 of them that have the skills and the systems and the processes and the following to take a nice picture or video how they like pour that flaming sauce all over the chocolate and it melts it all cool. You see those all over Instagram. So now like that chef's art has now become more valuable because you don't have to go to that restaurant to see it. You want to go there to experience it.
Now you have FOMO. Yeah. You have FOMO, so you want to go.
Exactly. Yeah. And so now that Instagram influencer that did have the skills to angle it and set it up or the system and the habit to get it out there, now I'm experiencing that. So now I want to go to Las Vegas and go to that kitchen and go to, whatever it is. It's so weird how it all connects. But yeah, so that's the systems you had when 2012, right? You were talking about that old SD card. I mean, what was the time? How long did it take you to, like, let's say you took 20 pictures.
Oh my gosh. I don't even remember.
Yeah.
Finding the cord alone probably took 40 minutes.
Yeah. It's all over the place.
Yeah. And this was when, I had I don't know what phone I had then. Probably an iPhone.
Yeah, like the original.
Yeah, which
like
were
iPhone
terrible
1, 2,
photos.
Yeah.
Terrible photos, but no one knew any different. So if you had a camera and you had a camera and your competition didn't, you were already a step above because your pictures look better than the iPhone pictures.
That's true. I mean, and now it's like the opposite.
Yeah.
I think sometimes, here's an interesting take. So you've been in this for 10 years. And this is total tangent. But back then, the camera and the complexity with that weird SD card and the cables, it was annoying, but it gave you a leg up because your pictures looked probably amazing. And if you have a talent and you like taking good pictures, now fast forward to 2025, I'm starting of this opinion. If you look at our Instagram, one of our latest edits of this room, we did like a highlight, just a quick edit of this room to some music. And I did it all on this phone.
Yeah, it's amazing.
And I did it because I was like, I forgot to charge the camera battery. I'm like, man, I got to clear off this SD card. I was like, and I said I would do this. And I was like, and it's Sunday and I'm tired. And, I want to just like play video games before tomorrow, Monday. And I was like, screw it. I'm just going to use the phone. And it was 1,000 times easier just to use my phone.
And I think we're we definitely have. We talked about real estate and how in 2015, Instagram was just perfectly curated feeds, just stock photo, stock photo, stock photo. That doesn't fly anymore. Like people want real nitty gritty. So when you do when you do a video on your phone, it's more real. Like people feel like
it's more relatable.
I'm there. Yeah.
Yeah, it's less curated. It's interesting how it's evolved. So let's keep going back then. Okay. But yeah, let me ask you the question though. Do you think we make it more complicated today than it needs to be?
Yeah. I mean, if you think about Instagram then, it was just take a cool picture, whatever you're thinking, you put the caption in there and then you let it go. I think when people started doing it for business and for money, that complicates anything. So it just becomes, a race to the top. And it used to be the more content you put out, the more likely you were to be seen. So it didn't really care about like
if it was like
quantity
authentic
over quality. Yeah. But now it's like that's kind of whittled down a little bit too.
Yeah. And now it's like not even it's like quantity, quality, and now there's a new player. It's like organic.
Yeah.
Like you have to look like you're not even trying. And unfortunately,
it takes a lot of work to look like that.
Yeah, it does. Yeah,
we have a content shoot tonight, and we're doing like a tennis club kind of vibes.
Oh, cool.
I had to go buy a tennis racket, and like I had to do a ton of stuff to get like a really casual back shot, you know?
Oh,
like,
yeah. Just, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, well, excellent forehand, Wimbledon.
Yeah.
Wembley, serve it here. Like that. Yeah. That's awesome. But yeah, there's a lot of effort that goes into content creation. So
Yeah.
let's back it up though. So 2012 boutique, you were helping a real estate agent.
Yeah, I was kind of helping a real estate agent on the
Yeah.
side, decided to do this. My parents have always been very entrepreneurial, and so
Nice.
saying, I want to open a boutique wasn't like, whoa, slow down. It was
Yeah.
like, okay, cool, let's do it. Like, let's just try it.
Oh, that's cool.
So gave it a try. Didn't really love it. I didn't love retail.
Would you sell online as well? Or was
No,
it
that's
just
kind of
location?
like, I feel like I missed the boat on that, because like these OG boutiques that started with the lives and you couldn't buy on Instagram, and it was kind of expensive to have a website that had a POS system, like a checkout, like a merchant service, you know?
Yeah, it wasn't as streamlined.
Yeah, it was way more expensive than, okay, hop on Square and do that. So what they would do is they would post a picture of something, you would comment sold and your size, and then and your email. They would email you like a PayPal request,
Oh, no kidding.
and then they would send you your item. So it was kind of like a workaround, but I feel like I had I had decided to call it quits on the boutique, and then that kind of started happening. Maybe it was
Started taking
happening
off.
before, but then I like noticed it.
Yeah, the traction started.
Yeah.
That's so interesting.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's a system, right? We had this platform that had a bunch of eyeballs, and people were developing a system to get content to people's eyes. And then just this manual clunky, like, I'm going to email you.
Yeah.
You're gonna-
PayPal request.
Yeah, you're going to put your comment, your email in the comments with, 10,000 eyeballs on that
Yeah.
comment. Yeah, that's so crazy.
And
Oh,
they made
interesting.
millions doing that.
I know,
It's
yeah.
crazy.
Wow. Okay, so then it evolved, but
I just imagine how horrific that would be on the other end, because I'm not great at implementing systems, but I like efficiency. So you're manually typing in those emails.
messing them up.
Absolutely not. That would be my nightmare. That would be my absolute nightmare.
That's true. You couldn't even copy and paste it.
No.
Because like Instagram, it didn't even have was it desktop? Like was it on the computer maybe back then? So maybe you could.
There was an app. Oh, well, yeah, I guess. Yeah, you could go to like Instagram.com/
Yeah.
whatever.
And then like see the comments.
Yeah.
So you could copy paste it maybe.
Yeah.
But
But one comment at a time.
Yeah. Yeah. And then like you could still mess it up.
Yeah.
And then wow, yeah, that's nuts. So it feels like that was 100 years ago.
Yeah.
Like comparatively to how easy it is now to like set this stuff up and go.
So quick. You can have a website in an hour.
I know. Yeah.
Crazy.
Nutty. So, okay, fast forward a little bit though. So then the boutique kind of stopped around 2015, you were saying? 2014-ish?
Yeah, 2014-ish, I think. Retail's so tricky. You buy a shirt for $15, you sell it for $30. You have to pay that $15. Now you have $15. You got to buy another shirt to sell. It's just, so you have to have something really unique, which is hard to find, and it was hard to find then.
Yeah.
Or homemade, or you can sell it for more than, the traditional markup, which.
Yeah. If you could sell one shirt and have the funds to buy two with some left over, like that's kind of how retail works. And then, because I was in retail too for a little bit, like at a Sportsman's Warehouse, like behind the gun counter and stuff. And if I could sell an item, the markup or the cost, I guess the profit would be X, like very little. But if I could sell 2 or 3 other items with it, like, oh, I sold you a sleeping bag, let me sell you a tent and like a lantern, for camping. That there's more profit in those 3 items because they stack, like the
pads that bottom line.
Yeah, it pads it. So you were always encouraged to upsell and do all that, but yeah, it's hard. It's hard.
Yeah.
It's hard to like. It's such a gradual start when you're bootstrapping something like that. If you don't have a bunch of money for inventory, then it's like you're kind of like juggling it. You're like, here, oh, buy some more. Pay you back, refund you. Sorry,
money just goes around and around, but you don't ever get
it
any
never's
in your
going in your
which people do it. So I
Yes.
mean, I obviously didn't have something figured out, but
yeah. Okay, so that happened, and then where did you go after boutique? You started getting into estheticians, I think.
yeah. So I was I started working real estate with just one agent, kind of as his assistant, and then he joined a team of agents, and they brought me on as well to kind of be like a coordinator, do marketing stuff for them. So I was doing that, and then also going to aesthetic school at night.
Cool.
Yeah.
And so during this time, what kind of content were you creating? Were you doing content creation in the real estate space?
Yes, and it was, like I said, very cheesy 2015, 16 content. It was like a picture of a girl like this with a house in the back. Like, are you curious about your interest rate? Just very stock photo, very.
Where would that go? Was that
we had an Instagram.
Okay, so on Instagram.
An Instagram, but we were primarily on Facebook because you couldn't run ads on Instagram, but you could run ads on Facebook.
Oh, that's right.
So we would run ads, and it was, I mean, you could still do it now, but it was right when they started. You could target people based on their demographic, based on their income, based on their interests. So we would, figure out that target market and run ads.
That's crazy. Yeah, that's weird that was happening.
Yeah.
2015.
And it was so much easier then to run ads. I've tried to run ads now, and I'm like, don't know.
Yeah, it was like the simpletons version. Yeah.
Literally.
Yeah, it was like click here. That's it.
Type in, like, you just fill in the blank, and then it would just go.
Yeah.
And now it's so much more involved.
It is. Like it's like an entire profession.
It's crazy.
Yeah, like we have a friend.
Yeah, I pay someone to do my ads.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Shout out to Leah. What's up, Leah? But thanks. And like she's the knowledge, for the ads and stuff like that we go to, because it's so nuanced, and there's so many changes. They change the UI like
all the
twice
time.
a year, 2 or 3 or more.
Yeah.
So you're like, wait, last time I did this, there was a category and a field for this, and it's gone. It's in a different section.
Even understanding like the impressions and the analytics, even just understanding that, I'm like,
it's like another language.
Yeah.
Deciphering it all.
This is where it's kind of a plug for online education, but could you learn how to do Google Ads? Sure. You're going to spend a lot of time and you're going to waste a lot of money, or you can pay an expert to do it and immediately reap the benefits.
Right. 100%. Yeah, that's the same thing. We were talking about this the other day. Like I'm pretty handy around the house. I could probably fix the water heater. I could do all those things with YouTube and Home Depot around the corner and the tools that I have. I could probably get most things done.
Right.
But is it worth my time?
No.
And energy or
frustration?
Me making a mistake and making it worse? Like I could solve the problem, but at what cost to the time? So it's like, yeah, hiring a professional is always the best. And that's my whole business model too, by the way. We're an agency, and yours too with your studio location, right? It's like, just come here. We'll make it easier for you. So when you were making this content though, what was your process around that? You're using a computer, and this was before all these quick settings of, I can click one button and remove the entire background of an image, right?
Yep. And before there were like I don't think maybe Reels had come out, maybe 2015, 2016. We weren't using them.
Yeah.
But no templates for videos. Like, you had to manually put the music on. I made a lot of YouTube videos. That's where we were on Instagram a little bit, Facebook quite a bit, and then we did quite a few YouTube videos. So it was a lot of like cutting and splicing and changing the audio and stuff like that.
Yeah. Like doing the actual nitty gritty of editing.
Yeah. Of like tours of houses and stuff like that.
Yeah. A lot of manual work. And video editing is still expensive today. The tools are so much better.
Yeah.
Because I took audio and video, or it wasn't like podcasting audio or sound engineering like Mal, but it was just audio video at high school. Shout out to Pleasant Grove High School. Russ Mayo, if you're still there, bro. Yeah, I know you're still there. Yeah, he's the best teacher ever, dude. I used to skip class and give him a sandwich. I'm like, hey, I'm gonna go. We had like a code. I was like, I'm gonna go do this over here.
Don't worry about it.
And then he was like, sausage, egg, and cheese, and then I disappeared. But yeah, he was like, honestly, one of the best teachers I've ever had, and he taught us so much about audio and video. And it might not have appeared like we were paying attention because we were goofing off. We were new boot goofing every day. But Russ, thank you. He has an awesome audio video program and radio as well over at Pleasant Grove High School in the middle of Utah County.
That's so cool.
And so that's where I picked it up. But like all the manual stuff we were doing back then with Adobe, and it's crazy how far it's come.
Yeah.
It's gotten so much more streamlined, especially with the apps in your phone.
You can remove. I remember when you could remove the background just by clicking something. And I was like, oh my gosh. You would like use your finger or a little stylus or the computer mouse to try to shade around like a logo or something.
Yeah, you'd miss a spot.
Yep.
Edit, undo, crap. Yeah, and the amount of time, like it's almost like when that button first came out and it did it perfectly you like just sink in the corner and start sobbing.
So much time.
You're like, so much time
of my life wasted.
Years.
Removing like freaking backgrounds.
Yeah, it's like when Buzz Lightyear loses it. He's like, years of academy training wasted. That's what it feels like when something new and innovative comes out and solves a huge problem for you.
But it's so cool.
It is. Because now you're like, okay, that system is now streamlined.
Yeah.
You don't even think about it. Like, oh, background. Like making a YouTube thumbnail. Click, click. Do you use Canva a lot now?
Yeah.
Okay, I'll get into that in a second, but we'll wrap up your backstory here. So 2015, you're making real estate stuff. You're making esthetician moves.
I'm doing aesthetic school at night. Mm-hmm. Yeah, my parents actually purchased an aesthetic school, and my mom had been an esthetician since 2007, maybe. And it was kind of one of those things where along my life, she'd be like, what about this? Like, would you want to do that? And I'm like, I don't want to do that. And then my plan was honestly to go to aesthetic school to work at the front desk or something, like just to be able to help out around. So I had the license.
Yeah.
Fell in love with it. And in kind of a different sense, I fell in love with the education piece.
Nice.
Being in a treatment room for 8 hours a day sounds like my kind of torture, but being in a classroom and like teaching other people these skills, I loved it.
That's awesome.
So I immediately did it was called the Student Instructor Program. So it's an additional license in the state of Utah. You can become a licensed educator and taught at the school.
That's awesome. So you kind of found your passion with the teaching side of it. You're like, hey, I like this vein, and then I like to teach it even more.
Yeah.
Well, that's awesome. So in that time frame when you started estheticians, like how much were you using content to like, what were you using it for?
So I was helping create content for the school. Mm-hmm. So the school had a very sad Instagram that we just started showing like behind the scenes stuff and like pictures of product. And I love taking pictures of stuff. So we would create that content and post it on there. So it was primarily on Instagram.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And what was the change like when you got involved? Did you kind of quarterback it into a new, like, because you had some skills in that area? Yeah.
And I was coming with a little bit of, I mean, that's what I had done for the real estate team. So I had some ideas of how, you know, you sell a house or you sell an education or you sell a facial or you sell a product. It's
the same.
It's different, but it's the same.
Different, but the concept's there. Yeah. You might change a few things, but.
Yeah. So I had some fun ideas as far as marketing and then changing things up on the education level too, which was really fun.
Awesome.
Yeah. So
was there, you can brag a little bit. Was there a large noticeable improvement over time?
There was. I think we started hearing students that came for tours. We heard more from them. Oh, I saw this on your Instagram. Or we saw, do we get to go on this field trip? I saw some students on this field trip on their Instagram. Or they do something called like a spa project and would always feature it on the stories and things like that.
Oh, gotcha.
So it really pulled it. If someone was interested in coming to aesthetic school, it kind of showed them what it would be like.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So you had more people referencing the content upon entry in the school. And that's the whole point. Mm-hmm. Right.
And then we kind of had two clients, right? Students, because we sell education, but then we also have a student service spa. So then facial clients, local people coming in for treatments was another market. So that was kind of a fun challenge to figure out how to market to two very different audiences, but using almost the same content.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah.
Did you, there's a really, like, speaking of systems and processes, there's a really effective way, like, of repurposing content. You can this is what we do at Blueform, where we can take a podcast and we can take a clip of that podcast and repurpose it for social media in different ways, or use it as part of an instructional video as like a clip, right? Or an internal podcast. Like we'll take an external public facing podcast and there's such a great explanation of something that we'll take that 8 minutes or whatever it was, and then we'll turn that into a training video, or it's complementing a training video within a company, right? So we're repurposing an hour of podcasting that the owner or the podcaster does. That can turn into so much more. And so it kind of sounds like you were doing that. If you have two markets that are very close, but they just need a little bit of separation, like what did that look like when you'd repurpose something?
So maybe it was a video of a student giving a facial, or a video of, this was a better one, a video of an instructor demonstrating a service. For clientele, it could be our students just learned microderm, come and get 50% off because they need to assess it. You're under the eyes of a licensed instructor. They're just practicing, whatever. For potential students, it was,
we now teach this.
Yeah, we teach this. You can learn this, and this is where you can do it, and this is the benefits of it. And
we have live customers you can practice on.
Yes.
So it's like, yeah, that's the connection. And so you're filming one piece of content and then just maybe shifting the narrative on each one, but they're targeted for So you're repurposing that content. That's a huge system. There's a lot of thought and intention that goes into that, right?
Yeah.
A lot of pre-planning, right? That's awesome. So that's your esthetician stuff. I mean, you had some interesting things to say when we were at your studio checking it out. What kind of content did you lean into after that? Because you did estheticians for a while, but then you started selling something interesting I'd like you to touch on.
Okay. My content?
Yeah.
My actual content?
Yeah.
All right. So fast forward, where are we? 2015? Is this the longest intro ever?
I'm milking it. I'm trying to get these
Well, I always tell people, they're like, oh, what do you do? And I'm like, that's such a loaded question. How far do you want to go back? Because I do a little bit of this and a little bit of that. So we're in 2015. Fast forward to 2021. So
Nice.
I'm doing a lot of esthetician stuff during that time. 2021, I have my baby and I leave my esthetician instructor job that I love so much and have a mini crisis. Go from working at a job I love to just staying at home with a newborn. And I'm like, can you smile for me? Are you having a good time? Like, newborn phase was hard for me. And before I had the baby, we were on a road trip to Yellowstone. And I had seen an Instagram post for permanent jewelry. And I sent it to my mom because I had always made jewelry growing up and like beaded and stuff like that. So I sent it to my mom and I was like, what is this? And she's like, let's go. So we like went out of our way up in Idaho and then to Yellowstone. And we both got permanent necklaces. And while we're sitting there, I'm thinking, this is pretty cool. Like, am I the only one who thinks this is cool? There's no way. Other people have to think this is cool. It was right before it kind of exploded.
Nice.
And I'm thinking, I could do this. This doesn't seem like those are jump rings and pliers and whatever. So it's kind of sitting in the back of my head. That was 4 months before I had my baby. Had my baby, left my job, needed something to do. I needed a creative outlet so bad. So there was the Utah Beauty Expo was coming to town. I already had a booth because I made esthetician graphic tees. So I had a booth selling those. I was like, maybe I'll just get another one and we'll just try this permanent jewelry thing. Like, no one was doing it down here. So get a booth. My sister-in-law and I just try to figure it out. And I'm like, we'll see. We sat and welded bracelets on people for 8 hours straight.
Wow.
And then people were like, can we come to your house? Can you come to our house? I want an anklet. I want this. So from there on, it had just been crazy. But as I'm learning how to do it, as I'm teaching myself how to do it, I'm realizing there are zero resources. None. If you Googled permanent jewelry, you would get like the dermal piercings. That's what would pull up.
When you said permanent jewelry, I'm like, is that dermal? Like,
yeah.
Because I've seen some girls with that, like instead of a nose ring, they'll go with a dermal.
Yeah. Or like, wherever.
Yeah.
So there were zero resources. And I just came from 7 years of education, curriculum, lesson planning, and stuff like that. And I'm like, there's something here.
And content creation.
Yes. I'm like, there's something here. First of all, easy to sell. because it's pretty and sparkly and it's cool and everybody like it's a new thing. It was just kind of like right place, right time. So I have this notebook somewhere, but I'm like keeping notes of everything that I'm doing so that I can, with the intention of turning it into an online course.
Oh, cool.
So doing the permanent jewelry, I had sold the course 4 times before I had filmed a single video.
Wow.
Because I started marketing it like
just to see.
coming soon, just to see what it was like. And I had 4 people that were like, bought it before I had filmed a single video.
Dude, I got to start doing that. I'm making like a little science fiction game.
Oh, cool.
Just as a hobby, but I got to start doing that.
Yeah.
Because you pre-marketed it. Mm-hmm. And what kind of data did you get from that pre-market?
That I needed to do it now because people wanted it. So I kind of got a lot of beauty professionals because that was the world I was in aesthetics. And so it's a super easy add-on to nail techs. They already have a clientele. So it doesn't take up a lot of space. It's a really easy add-on. So that was primarily who I had that was interested. Those 4 people, I think, were all estheticians or nail techs. So that kind of gave me an insight into maybe my little niche.
Sure.
So we filmed the videos.
Keep going. I'll ask you this in a sec.
We filmed the videos. Like I said, my husband's behind. I had a nice camera. So it wasn't like they were just iPhone videos. I had a nice camera, but my husband's behind with our 4-month-old. I said, you can hear baby noises in the background of those first tutorials, but I just had to get them out there. So filmed the videos, got them all up, pumped out a website, and started that way.
That's okay. There's a lot there we can break down. So what's interesting, I'd like the audience to pay special note to this fact is that, Shar, you didn't wait to have your lighting perfect, and you didn't wait to get the mics and get your hair like perfect. Everything was perfect and get the best editor in town. You didn't make it this huge extravagant thing because you had some basic skills to wrap up the edit, and then it was just press record and go.
But this is something that I've had to learn the hard way. I'm a recovering perfectionist. And hi, my name's Shari and I'm a perfectionist. But not anymore. And it's just little things like that helped me get over it because I could have spent 5 months doing that. And guess what? By the time I would have done that, they would have found somebody else. Like, because that's right at the time where I was the first training course, at least the first one that was marketing. So after that, other ones started to pop up. So I could have waited for perfection and missed the whole thing.
Right.
So were my first videos perfect? Absolutely not. There's baby noises in the background. The lighting's not great.
Yeah.
But it taught them what they needed to know.
The curriculum was good.
Yes.
So you spent time on the information.
Yep.
And
it was valuable. And it was
worth what they were paying.
It wasn't gimmicky. Yeah. It was.
Do you mind if we ask what you were charging per course?
So it's kind of a trick question because it included everything they needed. So it included the machine. Even more genius, I think. Yeah. I became a distributor for the machine, so I got paid a little bit that way.
Oh, cool.
So it included the machine, chain, jump rings, tools, like some safety equipment, and the training course. So at the very beginning, I think there was only one machine option at the beginning. There's like 6 now. But at the beginning, there was one. I think it was like $4,500.
Wow.
Yeah, $4,500. And that was everything.
Nice.
Yeah.
And like, of course, not all of that was profit because you were maybe paying some
right.
stuff,
So I think I don't even know. I'm such a bad numbers girl.
If you were to say, just the course, just the content, the work that you did one time behind a camera and in an edit, right?
Yeah.
How much do you think that was worth, just your course?
Hundreds of thousands.
Really?
Hundreds of thousands.
Like that's how much it stacked up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Crazy. So.
And I did it once. Okay. Well, I did it once. And then once it started getting bigger, then I hired someone to come in and do it professionally. You added the quality.
Yes. Yeah. But you probably kept the information maybe the same or added to what was so interesting.
Yeah.
So there is a need here for systems. And I have a friend named Jeremy Davis, who's also a real estate guy. And he's doing this currently, not with jewelry, but with real estate coaching, because he goes door to door. because he used to knock door to door for like Vivint Alarm, and he was a top dog in the door to door industry. And then he switched to real estate, so he gets listings door to door, and that's why we work with him, because he's not a real estate agent technically. He's a coach.
Yeah.
That sells how to do
Education.
real estate. Yeah. And yeah, he's been making a ton of money just by providing that service well. And so he's come to us. We're the upgrade. Like you hired out a professional later to make it better and, get the lighting right. And that's when you made it perfect.
Yeah.
Right. That's what he's at. Well, he's at that stage where he's got a product and he was just doing it on his iPhone and what he could on his webcam from home. And now he's like in our studio.
Right.
Like he's under the limelight.
That's so cool.
So there's people who can act, people who can create curriculum and create content. There's more to content creation than just like making an image or a video. There's like so much intention and planning that you're thinking about an individual that could benefit from your product or service. And you're thinking about that individual. You're thinking about, you're typing, you're writing a lot of copy, you're writing a lot of scripting or curriculum. That's content creation.
Yeah.
Using Canva, right? Creating a PowerPoint slideshow, like doing all that. That's all content creation. And I think we kind of get lost in, I'm going to take a picture of my meal or my feet. That's content creators.
With the caption mood.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's all part of it. But there's a whole nother realm of like intentional movement and content creation, right?
Yeah.
That you capitalized on. So that's awesome. So then that was 2021. You started selling courses.
Yeah, that was, that would have been, I guess, 2022, because he was born December 2021. So this would have been like February, March.
Early 22.
Yep.
So in the middle of COVID too, where a lot of stay-at-home moms or people in general, women were just like, I'm working from home. I'm sick of my job. I'm looking for something new.
Yes.
So then they get into permanent jewelry.
Yeah.
Right.
And the beginning was so fun because that was a risky thing. Permanent jewelry was a new thing. It was a brand new, I don't even know who invented it, but it was a new thing. So it was risky to kind of like go all in on that. And it was so fun to be around people who were like, no questions asked. They're like, yeah, I want to do this. Like, take my money. Well, how do I get it? How long does it take? And they just wanted to go for it. And I mentioned this at the studio. Is like, it's just different now where it's been around.
Yeah, it's lost its
4
novelty.
years. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
reliable though.
The people, still reliable. I'm still doing it. It's still fun. It's still great. People still want it. But it's not as risky now.
Or magical,
Yeah. People aren't waiting in line 3 hours for a bracelet because you're the only one in their state. They can go somewhere else and get it. Which means you need to do something to elevate yourself around everybody else. So that's kind of why we mentioned this and didn't talk about it. The content packages that I create. I create permanent jewelry content packages for people that have taken my training course or other artists anywhere. They can use those photos to market their own business.
That's awesome. And that's what your studio is largely for now.
That is kind of,
You've got a lot of elements in this awesome studio. And we'll keep you guys posted because we might, we're shuffling the deck right now. We might take over the studio space that Shar has been using. But there's a lot of intention in there, a lot of cool setups for like product placement and other things. And so you have been, on top of your courses that you sell additional content packages to those people. So
yes.
I bought Shar's course, and this is awesome. I got a line out the door in the middle of nowhere, Nebraska, right?
Yeah.
Or wherever they buy. And then like, I wish I had more content. I just don't have time. I don't have 10 years of experience like Shar does.
Yeah.
In taking and creating photos and making them look awesome. And so if they say, hey, I need a content package from you, Shar. What does that entail? Like, is it getting down to like specific pieces of jewelry?
So I haven't done custom ones yet. I probably should. I have a few people that want that, where they would send me, maybe they have a really unique charm they've had made or something specific to them. So they would send that to me. We would take stylized photos and send it back. What it is now is just kind of general photos, because for the most part, people are carrying similar chains.
But there's only so many ways you can make a chain.
Yeah. Literally. There's like machines that do it, and there's only so many machines.
Yeah.
So it's more about the vibe and the mood. So we'll do like a New Year's Eve shoot. So you can use those photos to kind of market, oh, we're at this pop-up for New Year's Eve or whatever, or New Year, New You, or use your bracelet to remind you of your New Year's resolution or something like that. So
that's cool.
We provide the photos and then they can kind of use them however they want. Yeah.
Nice. That's awesome. So you've kind of streamlined a content package that's applicable. It's universal.
Yeah.
And it's applicable to those people. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Does that sell pretty well?
It does. It did at the beginning when I was the only one doing it. Now a lot of people do it.
Yeah.
In the jewelry world.
They're
Yeah.
like, oh wait, I have my phone. I could take a picture.
Or like maybe they've slowed down a little bit so they don't have a line out the door. Now they have a little more time to do that.
That makes sense.
And the previous 2 years I've sold it a year subscription. So you pay for the year up front and you get new photos every month.
Oh, sweet.
This year with a baby coming, I did not want to be
doing that.
Yeah,
I got to go into mom mode for a little bit.
I didn't want to have my hands tied and be like, okay, I'm puking, but I still have to go and take these stupid pictures. So I'm just doing monthly, like not even monthly. I haven't done one yet this year. This one we're doing tonight is the first one. So
cool.
It'll just be a la carte. Like you buy this package.
I like that.
Yeah.
Well, that's awesome. Well, that's kind of Shari's background. I want to get into some more questions here to wrap it up. How are we doing on time, gang?
We are right about 53 minutes.
Awesome. We're cooking. Okay. Well, anyway, it's so fascinating to see like how many spaces there are where content is going to be making the difference. Content, it's a product to sell. It's going to boost your existing content if you do it correctly. It's just marketing. It's almost like I'm very much of the opinion that every business that's going to thrive in today's day and age, they need a content department, a media team, not just a marketing team. Like they need media people.
Yeah.
It's so vital. It's almost like, a large company, they wouldn't even think twice without going without an HR team. It's not even an option. Mm-hmm. But it's the same thing. It's like you should start thinking twice about your media team and what you almost can't survive without one, or you can't grow beyond it.
Yeah.
That's kind of the new landscape of content creation, is that you need a media team or someone doing this content or a subscription to get more pictures. So you need content. And from your experience, what is the biggest mistake that you think you made early on in your content career?
I can think of two. One of them I talked about just a little bit is just perfectionism, just waiting for things to be perfect. And what cured me of my perfectionism is a quote that said, perfectionism is just another form of procrastination. And I'm also a procrastinator. So I was like, I'm getting it both ways. So I just decided, screw it.
Yeah.
Done is done and it's good enough. And not in a way that's like half-ass it.
Yeah.
But just do the best you can and then grow from there. So I feel like striving for perfection was a big one. And then also not really having a strategy. It was kind of just something that I enjoyed doing. It was fun for me to do. I liked taking pictures, but it was more about the picture and not about the why or the story or at least in the early years, it was like, oh, look at this cute skirt or, whatever it was, just for the cute picture. There wasn't really any value. So that would be a big one.
Okay.
Too.
Interesting. So having like a strategy and an intention.
Yeah.
Or lacking that
and
was the mistake.
A strategy longer than 2 posts. Like, let's think ahead a little bit.
Yeah.
What do we want to do? Where do we want to go? Thinking things like that.
That's really important for a lot of people. I think, on that note, a lot of people, if you're looking to get into content and you're trying to figure it out, if you come into this area understanding that this is not a once or twice thing or a once a month thing, we've actually stopped doing that as far as services, because we're like, oh, well, if somebody wants to do 1 podcast a month, I guess we'll do it, because we had to say yes to everybody at first.
Right.
And now it's like, absolutely not.
Now you can choose.
Yeah. we're like, no, that would be it's a cheaper cost for you, but that's even a bigger waste of your money.
Yeah.
Because one podcast a month, you're going to be so irrelevant. Like no one's going to care.
No.
You know, I'm not going to stick around and wait a month later for your next show. Like I need to see you the next day. I need to see you almost every day, or content every day. And then your episode, oh, another one. Oh, I'll watch that. Mm-hmm. It's not how it works. Right. And so we're doing our clients a disservice by allowing them to like set the pace. We're like, nope, no more of that. You're either with us or you're not. Get out.
That's such a good point too. And that kind of makes me think, not having a strategy, you know, I also don't want people to think you have to plan the next 10 years. Yeah. You don't have to plan the next 10 years. Just have an idea, and that idea can change too. So like I could think making a podcast or deciding to do a podcast could be a little bit overwhelming because
it's a big commitment.
I have 4 ideas. What am I going to talk about after those 4 episodes are over? You know?
That's the most common thing, actually.
Really?
Like, I don't know what I'm going to talk about.
Yeah.
I'm like, I was like, how many products do you have? They're like, I don't know, 20. I'm like, could you talk about, I'm like, pick one random one. And they say, oh, we have this product. I'm like, could you talk about that for an hour? They're like, yeah. I'm like, there you go.
Episode.
Yeah. Could you talk about it twice for 30 minutes each? That's 2 episodes, right? There's more to it, right? Yeah. And with a little bit of effort and a little bit of planning, you can do a lot. And I think Char's right. You don't need to plan for 10 years.
Yeah. Or even 5 years, or even 1 year.
Yeah, just plan for 3 months.
Yeah, just start.
And do it again. Yeah, just start and have a loose plan even. Like, I'm going to do this every day. I don't know what it's going to be yet, but I'm just going to do it every day.
Yeah.
I'm going to like open my journal and see what I wrote about a year ago and see if it's relevant now. I'm going to research something. I'm going to just pick 5 things to talk about for this week only. Just focus on little baby steps.
Yeah.
You know? So that's great advice. I love your mistakes that you made, because we all make them. The perfectionism and lack of strategy. Those are excellent mistakes to avoid. What would you say, what's the biggest mistake you see other people making currently in the 2025 timeline here when they start something content related?
Not starting. They just don't. They have this idea. They maybe even have a notebook full of the next 10 years, but they just don't pull the trigger and start that one thing because it's not going to be perfect, or because of whatever someone's going to think, or, you know, there's a laundry list of reasons why you don't start, but
was that a factor for you at all? Putting yourself out there? Maybe you were like, I'm hypercritical of myself, or
something's broken in my brain and I don't give a shit. I don't.
I think it's not broken. I think it's intact. I think society breaks us down, you know, where, oh man, because I got laughed at in 7th grade during my book report at presentation, you know.
It still sticks with me. I will say, I was just talking to my dad about this. Closing my boutique, I did feel that a little bit, because it felt like, well, you had committed to this. Now, like, you better stick it out. But who cares? I'm not having fun and I'm not making any money. So
you were kind of like maybe ashamed of failing.
Yeah. I was like, well, people are going to think I'm so stupid because I started this boutique and it was only open for like 1.5 years or something. And he was like, so? And I was like, okay, you're right. So?
So what?
Yeah.
Yeah. And then, oh man. Yeah, fear of failure. I can't even talk today. We get that? Can we back that
Sound
up?
Check.
We'll leave all this in. I hate editing my own podcast, so we're not going to do
one
this.
cut wonder. It's fine.
Exactly. But yeah, the fear of failure is a different form of procrastination. I think. But it's in the same ballpark, right?
Yeah.
I'm so afraid of what it's going to look like when I fail. It's like, well, you're kind of dooming yourself. But failure is the best teacher too.
Right.
You probably learned, like you listed them off too. You're like, man, I should have sold online.
Yeah.
I should have just bit that bullet.
You know what has taught me the most though is if I have an idea and I'm like, oh, I should really, because I'm psycho and I just like new things. I like to start something new. My dream job would be to start something new and then someone else runs with it. I lack the follow through.
Oh man.
But I love like the passion at the beginning and getting it going and starting it and
solving the problems.
Yeah, being innovative at the beginning.
Making something exist that didn't exist.
Yes.
Yeah, I think, are you familiar with a little, like, it's kind of like a human archetype test. It's called A Human Design.
Yes. I'm a manifesting generator.
Okay. I was going to say, I'm like, you sound like a manifester at least. So that's what
generator.
Mal's a manifesting generator. And then I'm just straight manifester. So I loathe the follow through. I can solve the problem, come up with the situation, make the process.
It's a struggle for me.
Doing it day to day to day to day to day, I can do for a while. I had to. I was in the military, but I learned how to generate, but it's not. I feel icky. I feel exhausted. It's like not natural.
Are you familiar with Enneagram at all?
A little bit, yeah.
I don't want to compare it to human design because it's very different, but they
have some similarities.
Yeah,
though,
it's based on motivation. So there's 9 types. One's motivated by justice. 2's motivated by helping others. 3 by achievement. 4, I don't remember what 4 is, but I'm a 7, which is motivated by fun. So the second I'm not having fun, that's why I said with the studio, like I'm just, the second I'm not
the fun's gone.
It's hard to pull me back in, which is a toxic trait, I'm sure.
but if you're trying to get something started though, I'm sure your family and friends that know you or have worked with you, they're like, if we're going to get something started, if we get Shar on board, like it's blasting off.
Yeah. The joke is always like, okay, what new business have you started this month? And I'm like, Well, I actually do have a few ideas cooking.
Yeah. As long as you're not doing that with people you date or marry, you're it's not. Yeah. You can change the flavor of your business every week, but not your
relationships. So that has been another big teacher of mine is if you sit and wait, someone else will do it. And there's nothing that pisses me off more than like, I should have just done that.
Somebody did your idea.
So I would rather do it and have it blow up and fail miserably than not do it and watch someone else do it.
Are you guys getting this? These are gold.
Are you going to send it to a therapist and have me studied or?
No, maybe. No, this is just gold. I'm really excited to post this content because of the knowledge that you're dropping here. I
get pumped about it.
Yeah, ladies and gentlemen, this is 10 plus years of social media of someone who's paving the way, not afraid to fail, doing unique stuff. And you have a good eye, it sounds like, for seeing a spot. You're like, man, I'm having fun. It all 3 lined up. You're like, I love jewelry. I'm having fun.
And I'm making money.
And I know video.
Yeah.
I'm like, I could do this. And then you just do it. Action, speed, surprise, and violence of action is what we say in the military. You make a decision so decisively.
Yes.
And you act so quickly that it becomes, the whole thing just becomes violent. It becomes so surprising.
Ooh, I love that.
It's
goosebumps.
Yeah, you got goosebumps. Okay,
I need you to write that down for me. That's
speed,
cool.
surprise, violence of action.
It's going on my wall. Yeah. You know how some people have live, laugh, love? Speed, surprise, violence of action.
Yes. I've actually told Mel, I'm like, I want to do that as a joke.
Well, you put it in cursive though.
Yeah, in that same font.
Surprise.
Or papyrus.
Do you remember a few months ago, I was like, how funny would that be if I had military quotes in cursive like that?
Yes.
So it looks like all girly, and then you read it. It's like
violence of action.
It's like kill them all. That's a Marine Corps phrase,
So
what makes the grass go? Or the phrase in the Marines is, what makes the grass grow? And we're like, blood
of your enemies.
So like that would be so funny, like on a doily.
Yes. Oh, like embroidered.
Yeah.
Okay, I can sell the shit out of that on Etsy. Okay.
Could you really? Maybe that's where we team up. Is like, let's make some really novelty.
See, this
stuff.
Is what I like. I like doing something no one's done before.
Yeah.
If it's something that everybody's doing, I'm like, I don't really care. And I have to make money.
Yeah.
Those 2 things, I've just got to have it. If those 2 things are in place, I will even overlook the fun. That will
That's your maturity coming out.
That will trick my Enneagram. Yeah. Because if I'm doing something cool and I'm making money at it, it doesn't matter what it is. Well, I'll do it.
What's interesting is that when you're making money, it's just energy.
Yeah.
Right? Money coming in, money's going to go out. It flows.
Yes.
Right? And this is where I can get into some conspiracies, but like our currency is controlled by banks, just like a river.
Give me some conspiracies.
The current of the river is controlled by the banks of the river, right? Like the reasons we say things like, do you know what TV stands for?
No.
Television. Right? And English is a druidic language from Old German. So that's what they used to cast spells with.
Oh.
English is the only language that you spell a word. In German, you bookscribe a word.
Interesting.
Or you construct a word. But we're the only ones that spell. Like, it's like Hogwarts up in here.
Yeah.
We're just like, Petrificus totalis all the time. We speak, the words we speak are magic. And we don't even know it. So whether you know it or not, you're like cursing yourself or like, I look fat today. Or I'm so tired, right? We say this all the time. I am. It's like we're teeing
You're
ourselves
teaching your
up.
brain. Yeah. Oh, that's huge.
The
I love
syllables
that
and
stuff.
vowels and the things we enunciate are actually spells. And so the language we speak, like what is a mortgage in Latin? It means death grip. Right? Like, okay. When you turn on your local programming on a TV, it's a device that's telling you a vision, and you change the channels, and you broadcast, like casting a spell. Like,
that's crazy.
That casting is a broadcast of a spell. Like,
more goosebumps.
Yeah. So it's really important. The language we speak is important. And so when you're out there having fun and you're pouring energy into something good and you're getting a return, it's literally like magic. And and you're enabling more fun later. Because even if you're not having fun, but you're like, man, this is cool and I'm making so much money, the money and the resource and that energy, it's just a different form of energy. So it's going to equal fun when you're, on a vacation.
Later. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's still, you're banking more fun later. Money coming in equals more fun later.
Thought it was my maturity, but just kidding.
Probably it's that too. The maturity in seeing the loop.
Yeah.
You're like, okay, this is not fun at all, but I am.
But it will be.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or it's innovative.
Right.
So that's also fun.
Exactly. That's challenges, right? Or solving an issue. That's a lot of fun. But cool. Last question. What tools and systems have helped you the most throughout your little content journey here of 10 years? 10 years.
Okay. Let me think. I told you I'm not the best at implementing systems. I'm more like a
or tool. Systems or tool.
Tool. I'm going to share this one. You tell me if it's the direction you were thinking or not. But when I started my content packages and even on my jewelry Instagram, I created like a preset in Lightroom and just used that over and over and over again and tweaked it. Ooh. So it saved me a lot of time instead of having to edit every photo from scratch. It was kind of like, okay, get the idea, and then maybe this photo was brighter than another one, so we can turn it down a little bit. Because I'm a fake photographer. I have some formal training, but
it's obsolete though.
Yeah.
I mean, if you have a tool that does it, right? If I no longer need to know about overexposure, ISO,
true, like, aperture.
I know the basics of all of that, or like with video, like frame rates and color correction in the edit.
Yeah.
I can use what's called a LUT, like a preset, right? That I can just put over my footage, right? It's the same thing with that. And that to me is a tool and a system, right? You imagine like back in the day, the first farmer that was like tilling his field with a shovel. He's like, oh man, I'm a real farmer. And then his neighbor like has a donkey and he's like, what are you doing, Jack? He's like, you fake farmer. I'm doing this the real way.
And there are people like that though.
I know. And then Jack's like, well, I got 3 times the amount of harvest because of this this donkey. Like it's not stupid, right? In warfare too, it's like, oh, you had a grenade. Like, yeah, I had one.
So
I had a tool. You didn't, I did. I had body armor, you didn't, right? Like it's constantly this like tool, rock, paper, scissors.
Yeah.
And so because you have that tool, you can do things faster and get to market faster.
And it creates a cohesive like look on my Instagram, which again, we're kind of getting away from the perfectly curated, but I teach a content class for estheticians, and in that it says I've done research that shows, someone's done the research, not me, that it takes potential followers 0.2 of a second to decide if they want to follow your Instagram account or not.
Whoa.
So there has to be something that's pulling them in, that's aesthetic or that's funny or that's, something has to pull them in. And I've gotten a lot of feedback on my Instagram where people are like, oh, I love your feed. Or they'll pull it up and they're like, oh my gosh, do you take all these pictures? These are so amazing. These are so pretty. Oh my gosh. So having that kind of cohesive vibe, not only does it save time, but it speaks to my people.
That's really important to know.
Yeah.
So it's important to start. And these tools make it easier to attain what you would call like an adequate, maybe not perfect.
Yes.
But there's not really an excuse to like not make your Instagram look good.
Right.
With all the tools we have, like you have Lightroom.
Mm-hmm.
And is that Lightroom? You can maybe explain that to the audience. Is that for your light setup on your product, like on your photo shoot, or is it your editing software?
It's an editing. So it's like Photoshop for Dummies, kind of. So you can adjust lighting and you can remove things and stuff like that. So you can also create a preset or purchase presets and edit photos in there.
Great. And that's a great tool for photographers as well. We've used Lightroom a little bit, but we're more familiar with Adobe. We do very little photography. It's more videography.
Video, yeah.
But have you looked into a website called artlist.io?
Artlist? No.
It's mainly for videography, but they have some presets for photography in there too.
Cool.
But it's like free or non-copyrighted music.
Oh, that's cool.
A pool of images and
video. What? Actually, I think maybe not Artlist, but something similar to that.
There's a couple other ones.
When we were doing my training videos and we needed like a little music B-roll at the intro.
Oh, yeah. Sure. Yeah.
Yeah, so it was something like that.
Yeah, that's an awesome tool too.
Okay, my second tool, that's not really a tool, it's a habit, is
a system.
Because I know myself and I know that I'll get stuff done if I'm having fun. When I start something, I have to go as far as I can, like get as much done as I can at the beginning. Otherwise, I'll lose that excitement. So like for content creation, when I'll just like randomly get in these little creative moods where we'll do some pictures. Well, I'm excited right then. So I need to sit down and I need to plan the next 5 months.
Or just go as much as possible.
Yeah. And do as much as I can right there, which we could talk about burnout. That's probably not great for burnout, but it works for me. It's a system that works for me because I need the excitement and I need the enthusiasm to get it done.
And that's part of that archetype.
Yeah.
If you know your archetype, that might not be your thing. If you're like a generator, or you don't have an issue with just going every day.
If you're just steady, I envy you. Like if you can just do the same thing every day. But learning that was actually like pretty life-changing for me.
Yeah.
My Enneagram and my human design.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you know that about yourself. You know how your energy flows. And so when you got to get it while it's hot.
Yeah.
Get it while it's right out the oven.
Uh-huh.
Go as far as you can.
Oh, I'm not like lazy. I just need to be excited, Like it was.
That's crazy.
It was.
I've literally said the same things to Mal.
I don't want to be dramatic, but like life-changing.
Yeah. As this archetype was super eye-opening to me. Like I was like in tears.
Yeah, it's crazy.
When I read it, nothing had hit me that hard. And I'm not really into that stuff. I believe in personality tests and stuff. I've used that before in other professional works I was doing. But when the manifestor, it just hit me like a ton of bricks, and it changed like our relationship as well.
Oh, for sure.
I'm sure Mal's like nodding her head over there probably, but understanding how she works and how I work. Because if you zoomed in on me, like on a day-to-day basis, you would be like, this dude's lazy. Right. Yeah. But if you zoom out, like I have quite an impressive resume, and as do you. We just went over yours. Like you've done more and started more things than most people ever get to.
Yeah.
Right. But if you zoom in on a day to day and you're kind of in that stage where you're recouping some creative energy, people are like, what? How do you do what you do?
Yeah.
It doesn't make sense to them because they're only seeing a sliver. So if you zoom out, the ups and downs might be bigger, but you reach higher heights. Like when you're in your creative flow, you're going higher than most people because you're aware of that energy flow and you're not fighting it.
Yeah.
It's the worst when you have to fight it. When you work for somebody else or you're trying to force something.
Forcing it. That's really difficult for me.
Yeah. And that's not an excuse not to like deliver on your content. I'm sure there's some days where you had to force it.
And if someone's relying on me, I'll get it together. But if it's in entrepreneurship,
Yeah, I mean, you said it
You know what I'm
correctly.
saying? Okay.
Entrepreneurial.
When you're self-employed and all those tasks, they don't have a deadline,
Yeah.
right? It's just you.
They're just looming in the back. Like, I've been putting them off for so
Yeah.
long, some of them.
There's a laundry list of things that they're just looming. So it's a lot easier and there aren't as many.
And you can get caught up easily. I think Mal talks about it. We're like, we like to do the easier stuff. It's sometimes you just need a hit of dopamine.
Yeah.
Like, I got something done.
I accomplished this.
Yeah. But really the tasks that are looming in the background, like our website needs to be redone, and we need to make sure our links are working, and like, what is our Google reviews doing?
Blech.
All that stuff I know is going to suck so much energy out of me. And I'm like, but I just had to force. You gotta. That's where the maturity comes in.
Push through.
Force it, and then your talents will still be utilized, right? And so we just had to redo all that, and it's still a nightmare. But
I should do that.
it feels so good when it's not looming over you anymore. But understanding that cycle of how you work and operate, and then having the maturity and the discipline to just do it, and the habits and the systems, it makes this beautiful little cocktail of just effectiveness. And yeah. It's important to go at a good pace, but don't beat yourself up if you're not going at somebody else's pace.
Right. Don't compare.
Don't compare. But that's awesome, man. I think, Shar, this has been great. Do you have anything else you'd like to add? Any words of wisdom? Mal usually has a question. Mal, do you want to pose it?
I usually have a question.
Yeah, you always tag him with that last one, unless you want me to state it.
Don't remember ever this happening.
You always ask it. As soon as I say it, you'll remember it.
Oh, say it then, because I'm lost.
Okay. If you had one piece of advice in general to the listeners, life advice, relationship, anything, what would you say? What's your one piece of advice you could offer us today?
We kind of... I want to think of something new, because I'm thinking of just
can restate.
Just start. Whatever you want to do, just freaking do it.
Just go.
Just do it. It's not going to be perfect, and it might fail, and it might be stupid, but it might not.
That's awesome.
It might be great, right?
I love that. Thank you for sharing that. Well, you heard it here first. Well, we didn't hear it here first, but you just heard it from Shar. Nike swoosh that shit.
Yeah, just do it.
Just put a Nike
Trademark.
swoosh on it. Yeah. That's awesome. Well, Shar, thanks for being here. Really, I think I've learned a lot from you. It's really cool to go back.
Thank you.
And see the 10 years that you've been a part of this, and understand how much product placement you've done, how much intentional content you've created. And I think we've learned quite a bit from you today. So thank you very much.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah. And we'll see if we can get that studio from you, hopefully.
Yes. I am these sets would be so cool in there.
Oh, totally. It would be a game changer for us. So,
and you could have your living room back.
Yeah. And I've been thinking about the studio, your space, like nonstop the last however many days it's been, which is a bad thing, because that'll probably happen.
We're fixated.
I'm making this. It's going to happen now. So,
it'd be so
anyway, thanks for watching. This has been another episode of Your Content Factory. And just remember, love, peace, and hair grease. That's that.
Awesome.
Thanks for being here.